Welcome to the Earthtide Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Knight, and I'm here with my gloriously moustached co-host, Dan Ralph, who sounds like he's having a bit of an issue, but it's all good. Yes, we are. We are recording right now. This is definitely staying in the intro, mate.
I had no idea.
It's too late. It's too late now. How have you been, man?
Sneezy.
Sneezy and good at the same time. This is quality content.
I went wakeboarding on the weekend, and there are muscles that I didn't know I had until the day after.
Oh dear.
Nice.
Well, I mean, obviously, it just goes to show that
so much pain.
It goes to show that you're buffer than you think you are.
Oh man, huge.
And here's me just going to the gym and then complaining about like having muscle soreness, and you're like, I did something real with my life.
Yeah, and it's kind of silly, right? Though, because if you think about it, like, you're pulling on a rope the whole time.
Yeah.
And I just never thought about it until, obviously, I was there pulling on a rope the whole time and going, ow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously, like, we're old, so we can't do, physical activity for a long period of time and not suffer the consequences, as they say.
I don't think I've ever been able to do that. I don't think it's a matter of age, but
that's true.
Maybe for you.
That's just a Dan thing, unfortunately. So, but anyway, today's episode was probably my favorite, conversation that I've had in a long time with Mr. Connor O'Keen.
Mr. Connor.
There's a very multi-talented and incredible individual that we both had the luxury to sit down and have a good powwow about all things creative.
All things Connor.
All things
He's a
Connor.
busy man. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
He does. This is a really good episode, especially if you want to hear about how it goes trying to be a videographer, trying to start up your own sort of mini TV game show, and anything else nerdy. So yeah, we had a pretty good time in this one. And if you have any comments or anything along those lines regarding it, please feel free to throw a comment on the post we'll be putting up on this one on our Insta, or shoot us an email at earthtidepodcast@gmail.com. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy the episode, and
let's get into it.
Welcome to the Earthtide Podcast. I'm here with my glorious co-host, Dan Ralph, who is looking at me with a funny face while he's enjoying his delicious tea.
Just my face, man. What can I say? It's a
good time, though. The moustache is glorious today.
Thank you.
That's all right. How you feeling, dude?
You're not bad, man. Not bad. We're here. It's a nice Saturday afternoon. Just chilling, sipping tea.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes until the afternoon, but it's pretty close. And we're here with the bold and beautiful Connor. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Yeah, thank you. Good. I'm much less dusty than I thought I was going to be today. I spent last night at Daniel Mackey's house. Mackey is the guitarist from my band, or one of the guitarists from my band. We're at his place, drinking and watching movies, eating pizza.
Nice. What movies did you check out?
We watched the Zombieland 2.
I haven't seen that yet.
And then just ended up watching like music DVDs. We watched Kill Switch Engage's last DVD they put out, and the Hatebreed DVD, the Live Dominance.
I haven't seen that one.
Really good, dude. Like monstrous sound and amazing footage. Like sold out show in Detroit. It's just rowdy as anything.
Man, because I love like the podcast that Jamie does.
Oh, Just Show is huge inspiration.
Yeah, definitely the same for me. And I've been mentioning it to you for quite a few times as well, haven't I, Dan?
You have.
Yeah,
It'd be nice if I actually listened to it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we could have a talking point of conversation, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Nah, but I guess for me, I've really just loved like the longevity that man and all of the creative projects that he's involved in have had, and like the kind of vibe that he puts out there to people in the heavy music community. It's just like the world needs more people like that.
Yeah, he's a real beacon of the community on a global scale. It's really cool. And his attitude, like, it just comes through in the podcast. He's just very positive and but not stupidly so, just like in the face of, everything. He's like, nah, but be good,
That's good.
And yeah, just hearing him enthusiastic about music, just being like, yeah, man, that's hard. Is like, yeah, it is hard. Cool, man. You know?
Yeah. No, it's sick because like somebody who's sort of at his level and he's also so closely tied with people who are sort of really like generally at the top of the heavy music community worldwide, to be so interested in what new people are doing, in trying to create, you know, more community for the heavy music community and trying to get it associated with other communities out there, creative, both musically and non-musically. So it's kind of cool that he exists and he's trying to do that thing. But
absolutely,
you're feeling not so dusty today, considering that you were out pretty late last night, or
was sinking drinks and watching and eating pizza. Like I thought I was going to feel way worse today than I do. Which is good because round 2 tonight, got a friend's birthday drinks.
Yeah, and you said you were going to do some day drinking as well.
Potentially, depending on how quickly this finishes. Depending on what time I get home. Yeah. I have places to be drinking, people.
That's okay. We have only, it's midday, so technically it's already 10 o'clock. If you want, I could go get you some gin, but that's okay.
Nah, that's all right.
Yeah, you got to save that.
Irish up that tea for you.
I do have some whiskey that I recently got my partner for Christmas. But then again, if I did give you some,
I'll have that.
I just got this whiskey for my partner for Christmas.
Yeah.
And you can have some.
That's going to be a quick way to be like, you're sleeping on the couch tonight. Zach.
Yeah.
So, thanks to obviously coming along and joining us here on our podcast. It's greatly appreciated. And this is the second podcast that I've actually done with you, but it's Dan's first one with you. It's his first time. Be gentle with him. But I know I touched on a bunch of different stuff with you when I did a podcast in the past, but life has been pretty busy for you generally as a creative and a human being over the last 2 years.
The last year in particular, like 2019, mainly. Like previous to that was decently busy, but 2019 was really knuckled down and started projects I've been putting off for a while, or not putting off actively, but just kind of letting get put off, letting not be a priority, made them a priority.
Yeah, because you've got quite a number of different things that you've got your pause into, that's for sure. Now, some people who are listening to this might already know, that you play drums in a sick metal band, Triple Kill, which I've had the luxury of having you in the studio and working with you alongside Chris at Monolith before. But there's quite a lot of different things that you've got under your belt and that you've been working very hard towards. And the first one that I don't know much about and I really would love to hear straight from, I guess, the horse's mouth, so to speak, is all about ChunezTV, because it's pretty cool. And I've watched a couple of episodes so far and I like it, dude. I think you've got something interesting going on.
Quality watching. Quality.
Thank you, guys.
I rather enjoy it.
Cheers.
Yeah.
What do you want to know about it?
Well, pretty much how did you come about with the idea of doing tunes?
I had the idea, and it's in an old notebook. I've got a picture of it somewhere on my phone, because I was going through that notebook and found like the early idea of that where I'd first written it down. It was just, the idea was just going to be me and someone else, like talking shit like in the backyard or something, showing each other tracks, like just going like, oh dude, I've been listening to this lately, this is a tune, like do you reckon this is a tune? Because that's some of the most entertaining and most fun experiences I've had as a human has just been through sharing music with friends or loved ones or whatever, but it always leads to the biggest laughs and I don't know, you come away from those conversations with a better sense of like what you like and why you like it. And usually with a sense of like other stuff you like, someone will show you something, you go, oh, this actually speaks to me. Like how, and you ask the person about like where it comes from and all that. Like you learn something, you come away from those experiences better, I think. And so this was an attempt to capture that. At first was just the point was just to like record those sorts of sessions with like me and a friend. I didn't know who at the time, but me and someone having those conversations on camera because makes for good banter. Again, fun, good memories. And then I had been getting to know Luke Ashley from Trigger better and better in the kind of year leading up to that, or a couple of years leading up to that. But approached him with it because I thought, because he's just a wonderful human and has this energy and this presence that was like, he's infectious. Like people want to be around him. I want to be around him.
I want to be around him, and I
just want to hear him talk. Like he's incredibly thoughtful, and puts real time and effort into why he thinks something. So when he's like particularly passionate about something, it's just a joy. It's so entertaining to hear and to listen to. So I approached him with the idea for Chunes, saying I want to start this thing, and I'd love to have a co-host. Maybe it's a 3-person thing, and I'd love for you to be involved in that. Would you be interested? And he was like off the bat super into it and super excited, and really threw himself into it. Was like, could we make it a game show? Could we do this? Like brought so many ideas to the table, and I'm so glad he did, because we ended up going that route. Like kind of the way we've thought about it, the like elevator pitch for it now is that it's an attempt to gamify the experience of handing a friend the aux cable.
That's so cool.
Which I think is a modern, that's a modern experience that everyone can kind of relate to, being in the car and going, oh, chucks this, I got to show you this, and the banter that ensues from that is always great. And if you've got the right people, it is like, you do have those moments of, fuck, I wish someone was recording this because this is fucking hilarious, or what have you, or like someone will make a point that you go, oh, I wish I could remember that. So this is a way that if not, and I hope it seems to be doing what we want it to do. Like it's reaching people in the way that we wanted it to. I've had people come up in at events and stuff and say they've really been enjoying it, and that like, oh, it's been amazing. I've got to think about like, you guys have played songs that I haven't heard or thought about in decades, and it's rekindled my love of that band. Or I would never think to have given this band a spin, but you played that song on Chunes, and now they're a band that I'm really enjoying and really getting into. Or like, oh, I thought about like my favorite songs relating to that theme or whatever, and people have really engaged with it, which is what we wanted. It's like, obviously we're doing it and we're the hosts and all that shit, but we want it to be something that people engage with and get involved with, and it be a sort of a community thing.
And there's so many different things that you guys can do as well because of the nature of what you've set up with Chunes, because you've got the nostalgia and it's music driven and it's all about sharing, but it's also a game. Oh, there's so much that you can really do.
We've got heaps of plans for it, especially, this year. We've got a heap of stuff that I would love to talk about, but I don't want to do that thing where you talk about it and people go, that's cool, and your brain releases the chemicals of like, you did it, next thing, But yeah, we've got some really cool stuff in the works, and it has like the fact that it is a game show and it is kind of nostalgia driven. Has meant that we also have like spun off a Let's Play series, or like a video game kind of aspect of the channel, where we do a weekly stream on Twitch, and we've got a good like 20 to 30 regular people who make it part of their week, and every single week we get more and more viewers very slowly, it's cool. It's really cool. It's good fun.
That's pretty cool. It's interesting you talk about that, because I'm not that familiar with Twitch being stuck in the studio all the time, but Dan actually has a roommate who does quite a lot of streaming through Twitch.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
So
Liffy does heaps, which we'll hopefully have her on the podcast soon. Actually, I was talking to her today about that. But,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But she's been doing that for a while now, hasn't she? And she's been quite successful at it, or
Yeah. She that's how she pays the bills. So obviously that's
with
a good form of
obviously-
success.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
really cool.
And she's an artist as well, so she does commission work and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll get more into that when
we would run
pick
through.
her brain about it.
Yeah.
But
that's
it's just interesting to see that like it's all blown out of the water. Like there's so many different things that you can do in 2020 now. And one of them is have you and your mate playing games once a week.
Yeah.
Imagine that like 15 years ago if somebody was like,
Yeah.
hey, we can film what we do on a Saturday night or Friday night,
Yeah.
and make money.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
insane.
like,
That's
at the moment, like we're just trying to cultivate the audience, like just grow the audience and stuff.
yeah.
Because that's when we're barely business minded enough to do the kind of bare minimum stuff that you got to do to like run this thing as a business, but we're not I guess business centric enough to even consider like to think about any of this in terms of like money just yet.
yeah.
Like
Actually, that's one thing I really do like about the whole tunes thing is that like it's really genuine. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a money grab or here's an opportunity to jump in and grab this. It's like, no, you guys are just having fun.
Well,
and it's sort of like
that's been the thing is just having fun with it, and I think it comes through in I think Luke and I have a very similar approach to our music stuff as well, because it's the same there where it's more it's about contributing to the industries or
What the community, or
the
society?
communities that have brought us so much joy. Music has brought us immeasurable joy, and I've heard some people scoff at oh, music saved my life, man, but fucking it does. It gets you through the lowest of lows and enhances the highest of highs. And same with art and entertainment. Like my heroes are one of them is Jamie Jaster for what he does. But Kevin Smith as well has just made a career out of doing him and doing it so genuinely, and people just go, yeah, do that more, But he would be doing that regardless, and that's a big thing for me, because it's important to him to be contributing to comics and to entertainment and to movies and the stuff that makes life so special for him. So same approach. I think it's the same in Triple Kill. We're just thrilled to be contributing to, but to be even a footnote in the story of the grand story of heavy metal is a fucking
You guys
honor.
will definitely be a footnote, that's for sure. I don't know any bands who have.
If we can get a little link at the bottom of a Wikipedia article, whoo, hey, we're on that Encyclopedia Metallicum thing, man.
Yeah,
Like,
you are.
I was like, sweet, next pursuit,
I was going to say you're on there, and so is Dan as well, but I'm not.
Are we?
Man,
Yeah, you're on there.
Rad.
Isn't that
Yeah.
nuts?
No,
The like, and this is what blows my mind about this stuff and like people's passions around this stuff is that who did that?
Yeah, someone
Who
took
did
time
that?
out of their day
Somebody
to
took
go,
time
oh,
out of
these
their
guys
day
need to go on
like
this
chronicle some fucking band from Melbourne that's been around for nearly 4 years. It's ridiculous.
thing. And thank you if you're listening.
Yeah. Thank you from the bottom of our fucking hearts, dude.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to I'll look up Dan right now so that you can see it for yourself. But it's interesting that you say
Because you wouldn't believe it unless you said it.
no, you said that you didn't believe it. So nah, you did. You didn't say that. No. The thing is, it's interesting. It's good that you guys have got that approach with tunes and obviously all your creative endeavors, because the thing is, with anybody who's doing anything creative that's actually making money out of it, there's no career if you're not genuine. You've got to be doing it because you want to be doing it. Like,
People, you can sense the fakeness when people
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
like, forcing it, I guess.
Yeah, speaking of fakeness and making money and stuff, something we launched literally last week, which we're really excited about, is ChunezWear, which is our like apparel kind of stuff, like merch essentially. But we want it to be like, there's a chance that not all of it will have the Chunes logo on it. Some of it might not be branded. It might just be a design that we think is really sick. Because we really like merch. We really like cool shirts and want to. That's something that like again, it's an opportunity to contribute to that that aspect of our lives that we really enjoy. We both really dig band merch.
Yeah.
So some of that's and pop culture merch and some cool like streetwear stuff. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of dip our toes into that. And obviously, like, you need to do that for money to at least print the merch and stuff. Mm-hmm. We're not looking to like turn a massive buck on it or anything. It's just it's another thing that we're dipping our toes into. And we'll be I feel confident in saying this because it will happen. We'll be starting a podcast as well. Because
awesome.
Yeah, because like I'm sure similar to yourselves, but yeah, wanting to give that a go. And also to through Chunes, we've had a lot of people ask us like, how could we be involved in Chunes, or can I be on Chunes? And for the guests and stuff, like the show is going to be shot at the time of recording. The plan is that the show will be shot on a seasonal basis. It's about 10 episodes per season. We can't possibly get everyone who wants to be on. Yeah. And we'll probably limit it to people who we think would be good for the format of the show, or that we have some rapport with that makes them, I don't know, right for the tone and the feel of the show.
Definitely.
But the podcast, get any number of people on from any number of walks of life. Like, especially we're doing gaming stuff. Could get some video game developers on. Like, we just want to hear people talk about their passions and why they do what they do and all that sort of stuff. And it broadens the appeal then as well, because get people in who might not be necessarily be into heavy metal or be into music at all, or be into video games or whatever. It's just conversations and stuff. I guess similar to, I think Andy's the Andy Social podcast.
I love Andy's
so
podcast.
cool, dude.
So good.
It's so wonderful. Again, the people are out there doing that thing, and this is just us going like, we want to do that too. We want to do good also,
Well, can I come too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting you say that, because because I initially obviously started off doing the Monolith podcast, and I was doing that just to interview bands that we do. And I'm just going to do a quick segue here because we found Dan.
It's actually me. It isn't Nabarus. It's Daniel Ralph.
Daniel Ralph.
Also known as Ralphie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Age NA, obviously,
Added by The Storm I Ride.
There you go.
Modified by Cosmic Mystery.
So it's even been modified by somebody.
Yeah, dude. It was added in 2011, and it was last modified in 2018. So people are keeping tabs on you, dude.
Man, that's rough.
And care enough to update this shit. That's wonderful, man.
There you go.
It's so cool.
You're a part of metal history.
Yeah.
But you are like
true.
Well, the reality is, dude, is if it wasn't for you, so many people in this city would have shit sounding guitars.
Well,
yes, they would. You can take that. You can take that. But it's interesting you talk about like that whole obviously format with the the Andy Social podcast and just like wanting to get out there and interview people of all walks of life who are creative and other such things. When I decided that I was like, I'm going to have a crack at getting back into doing podcasting after I had a bit of a break with the Monolith one. And I realized that I wanted to do one that was a little bit more focused around things that I'm, sort of wanting to talk about. And I also realized that I didn't want to do it on my own. I actually wanted to have one of my best mates who, has a different opinion than me on things and will also call me out on my bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And having someone else
it's a full-time job, mate.
Yeah, I know. He looks at his watch.
Someone to share the enthusiasm about a project and maintain some enthusiasm when yours is waning, I think is hugely helpful. Like knowing that Luke is still gung-ho on the idea when I'm sitting there going, am I wasting my fucking time here? Like, the world doesn't need another fucking podcast.
But the world does. But it actually does.
Yeah. I mean, if the world didn't need another podcast when Justa started his one, But it's got that his podcast has taken my mind off things when I really needed it to, or it's made me feel motivated when I needed to and stuff. Like,
yeah,
you don't know what people need and shit, I guess.
Definitely.
But also, if someone drops a podcast weekly, right, and you've already listened to all of those podcasts, there's always room, and you want a similar sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I listen to a couple of D&D podcasts, and there are ones that I'm up to date with, and it's like, oh man, I I wish there were more.
Yep.
So I could then jump into those after I finish doing that. Because being self-employed, you listen to a lot of podcasts. At home, otherwise I'd lose my fucking mind.
Yeah,
so more than I already have. But yeah, so always room for more podcasts. More YouTube's pretty stacked, but even then, good YouTube.
Yeah, when I'm in my right mind, I remember that. But again, it's just good to I like anyone to have moments of self-doubt and all that stuff. And
that's good to have as well. You're checking yourself.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
Right? You're not just going like, I'm the best, and this is it.
And it does like help you, like you said, check yourself and make sure that what you're putting out is like, okay, I get that there's like, world doesn't need another podcast, but I could have a podcast that does this, or ticks this box that I don't see ticked myself or whatever. Like I think with Tunes as a show, I think we've got a pretty I think the format's pretty sick. I think that it makes for some pretty entertaining content that I don't think exists quite in the way that we've made it exist yet. So that's cool. I'll give myself that much.
You should.
But yeah, back to having Luke on board. It's nice having someone but when I'm like, are we wasting our time? He's like, no, this is sick. Or like, even if we are, fuck yeah, we are. It's sick. His enthusiasm is infectious and wonderful.
I mean, you can't always be up, dude. You can't always be up.
No, I feel immense pressure too, though.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one. I feel like all three of us feel that. I can definitely attest to the fact that even recently, it's been just general in life, trying to achieve all the things that I set aside in my mind to achieve as a producer and a creative and an artist.
And a human.
And a human, and a soon-to-be married person who has those kind of responsibilities as well.
Mazel tov, dude.
Thanks, dude. It's great, but like at the same time, there's a lot of pressure, which mostly is coming from myself. Other people aren't telling me what to do. I'm telling myself. And Dan's unfortunately been in my bulldozing path, being a close mate, to deal with that kind of stuff. And sometimes for me, being self-employed is more recent than it is for Dan and even for you. And the biggest thing that I find is that there'll be, at the moment, it could be anywhere between sort of 30-70 to 50-50, where I'll wake up and I'm suddenly just like, should I really be working for myself?
Yeah.
Should I even be doing this?
Yeah. And sometimes I'll wake up, I'll have work to do and I'll get it done, but it is like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
The bare minimum does not come easy. And I'm like, why doesn't it? It should. And it's like, why should it?
And like, sometimes people will say to me, they're just like, but you get to be a creative for a living, you get paid to be a creative. You should be thankful every day that you've got that. And I'm like, I'm thankful. I'm not thankful, but I can't control my mind all the time and remember that.
I'm lucky. I've got some people around me who I don't often allow myself to air these things to friends and stuff, because I do have that thing of like, I chose this. Yeah. There's a bit in, have you guys seen Extras, the Ricky Gervais show?
Yes.
In the Christmas special where he kind of has this like that revelatory moment on where he's on Big Brother and he's like, yeah, this is what I do, but why? Like, not because I'm compelled, because I'm too lazy to get a real job. Too scared, too much of a pussy to join the army, too much of a bum to get a desk job. And that's how I feel a lot of the time. I'm like, I chose this because I didn't want to do it. Really, there's something in, I'm compelled to do this for whatever reason. Someday I'll probably have to make concessions to life and get a real job. But for the time being, I don't. So get on with it while it's here. That's what I try to remind myself. But I'm lucky enough to, whenever I do have to bring this stuff up and air this stuff to keep myself from going crazy, I have people around me who have a lot of context for who I am as a person and where I'm coming from with this, and who are good enough to say no, you're allowed to feel like this. And I think, and even my parents, my dad's an artist, visual artist, and was a drummer for the longest time. Still plays drums, but he it wreaks havoc on your back and stuff, and he's in his 60s. So, being able to bounce off him and him just reassure me not in like a no, darling, just like a yep, it's hard, it's fucked, but what you're feeling is normal kind of thing is immensely helpful. And talking to people like yourselves again, it's good. Yeah, knowing that it sort of like comes with the territory. Almost. Yeah. One thing I said to Zach a couple of weeks ago now was like, because he's reasonably newly self-employed, was that, man, you've grown up in a school system essentially that's like 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever you're doing. Yeah, you've worked a job out of school 9 to 5
for 11 years.
Years. Wow. Yeah. So when you come out to self-employment, you kind of feel like I should be working 9. Like that's the sort of programmed to go by that. So then when you're self-employed, and you do have to kind of pull yourself out of bed some days, and it gets tricky. And I got to that point a couple of years ago, and I actually stopped repairing and building guitars and went into the mechanic apprenticeship. And I got like maybe 3 years through that. I finished it in the end, but it was like, what the fuck am I? No, I miss doing what I was doing and being creative and having fun. And even it's sort of like, which shit sandwich do you want to eat? Yeah. Being stuck in a 9 to 5 or having these sorts of pushing through and sort of dealing with these sorts of feelings. And thoughts,
yeah, absolutely. I was really, to be honest, I was really thrown when you I rocked up to your house one day and you were like, hey man, I'm not doing guitar work anymore. I'm going to be a mechanic. And I was like I knew that, the reason that you did it was for a mental thing and also eventually going to be for a financial position because, at the start of a mechanic, you don't earn a lot of money. But
they were definitely reasons. The main reason for me was playing in a band. And I was like, well, this is what I want to do. I want to do the music thing. I didn't have any delusions of grandeur or anything, but it was like, well, if I just have like a trade or something under my belt, it means I can always fall back on that. And it means I don't have to be worrying about promoting the band and managing the band and promoting my business and managing my business. It's like, well, no, I can do the 9 to 5 and it's someone else's issue to deal with all that stuff. I can focus on pushing the band. But then, working 9 to 5 in a physical job also drains all the fucking energy and life out of you. So it's like, I actually felt like I was less creative and even less managing of the band because I was just so fucking drained. And no, I'm home. I'm at home. I want to relax.
100%.
And recharge. But
And I mean, your personal position as well, having to deal with the things that you deal separate to the regular kind of person in life certainly doesn't make it easy.
Autoimmune diseases are fun, friends.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. What? So I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue. And potentially fibromyalgia. Maybe. But now I'm under investigation for a whole bunch of other shit by rheumatologists.
Don't touch Sam. You might make him sick. I'm joking.
Coming in the next podcast, we're in your hazmat.
It's okay, guys.
That's a unique angle, dude. Come on, Zach and the Bubble Boy podcast. I want to be on that podcast, dude.
Maybe we'll do a Halloween special. We'll do a Halloween special, all right?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you can come in. You can bring Luke as well, and he can wear. If we do that though,
how many Hawaiian shirts?
I want to see him wear Hawaiian shirt earrings.
Oh wow! I think he would.
That's amazing.
You actually have to find them now.
If anyone's listening to this that makes earrings, you need to make a set of those earrings and
hit us up. Just get us in touch with us. Yeah. We're happy to pay for it.
ChunezBoys@gmail.com. Please hit us.
Yeah, Hawaiian shirt earrings. That sounds like a birthday present for him.
Yeah, it does.
Either that or like a hat, but it's just got little Hawaiian shirts all around the top of it.
Yeah, a snapback that's Hawaiian shirt print.
Yeah, definitely. And on the front of it, how they usually have an emblem on the forehead. It's just a shirt.
Yeah, it's the same color as the rest of the shirt, so everyone kind of double takes.
Yeah, is that a shirt printed on your shirt?
Shirtception.
It is. It is. But yeah, dude. Man, the whole. It's an interesting thing. The whole mental side of being self-employed. I guess I just didn't give it enough credit on how vitally important it was to keep it in check. And I'm kind of very lucky and also a little bit, sort of with a bit of trepidation about the fact that I'm lucky that my fiance is actually a psychologist. So she can literally give me all the tools that I want. But, obviously it's important that I get to talk to other people about all this kind of stuff. But what do you do when you're in those situations where it's suddenly you're just like, I can't, it's pulling teeth trying to get through the day. I've got all of this creative work to do. We haven't mentioned it yet on the podcast, but you're a videographer. That's what you do to end that dollar. But
yeah, singular, definitely singular.
That $1.
I don't know if I said, I can't remember if I said this on mic, but I feel like I should say it if I haven't. This year, 2019 was the most prolific and hardworking year of my life in creative stuff, and I'm the most broke I've ever been.
I'm broke too.
Yeah,
high five, Dan.
So it is a singular dollar that I am earning,
but you've got a lot of stuff that you've done though, and I actually don't know a lot of I don't know specifically all the different things that you've done over the last year.
Yeah, looking at I put together an editing show reel just of music video stuff that I worked on in the last year, and looking back at it, which is not something I allow myself to do.
You should.
Yeah, which I
Far
should.
More.
Is like looking back at it, putting it together, and watching the final product of this show reel. I was like, fuck, I worked on some cool stuff this year. Like, that's pretty dope,
Yeah, dude. What's have you got any? I mean, I'm sure it's probably pretty hard for you to have any personal favorites out of the year, because I'm sure every project has its merits. But are there like a half dozen things that you can tell us about that we should be excited for?
In terms of like, should be excited for this year, or stuff that I've made in the last year?
Things that you've made that we can go and see now or might be coming out.
Well, I'm like looking at tunes. Like I added it up. Each session, each recording session of tunes went for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Would edit those down to about 20 to 25 minutes worth of like somewhat coherent content.
Awesome.
And like really do my darndest to make it watchable. And I think I managed with each episode. I think managed to make each episode like decently entertaining in itself.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Thank you.
I love the cartoon of you guys as well, the cartoon things of each of you. Every time I see it, I'm just like, and then when you make one of the guest as well.
Yeah, I have to shout out Crystal Storm. Is a kid who did those for us and who we commissioned for the artwork and stuff. And she's done some wonderful fan art as well, based on stuff we've done on stream. She's also done a bunch of Triple Kill fan art. And she rules. Her Instagram handle is Bile Puke, one word.
Nice.
And yeah.
Bile
and
Puke.
She's like a certified. Can I swear on this? Like,
you can swear on this fucking podcast.
Certified sick cunt. Certified sick cunt. So is her dad. Heath's amazing. They both watch the stream every week, and Heath's name in chat is Crystal's dad 666.
Wow.
It's so cool, dude. It's fucking wonderful.
So
they rule.
This is Bile Puke?
That's Bile Puke.
I love it. It's on Instagram, Dickweed.
Yeah.
I'm just following that right now.
Yeah, well, wonderful artist. And,
that's actually sick.
Yeah, really cool person. So sorry, I derailed you there. You were saying?
No, I was saying what are some of the?
Oh, that's right.
What are some of the things that you do to like? Oh no! First of all, tell me the things that you're proud of.
And then to get through. So that was a roundabout way of me saying tunes I'm very proud of. I think the first season we put up is it's not flawless, but fucking it's pretty entertaining. And it's about like 400 it's nearly 500 minutes of content. That's like
a lot.
Looking back, I'm like, fuck, that's no, you can't really bumblefuck your way through that.
I mean, that's video.
something.
That's video content as well. I mean, it's it's not that easy to get that much content on a podcast, but like,
it was a lot of
work on video, dude.
And I'm proud, really proud of the end result. I'm super proud of what me and Luke have achieved there. And in terms of music video stuff, I was lucky enough to work on Orpheus Omega's Suffer video.
Oh, that's
first
sick.
thing in the year, and I'm still super proud of that.
I love the phone as well. The hidden phone.
And I worked on a few videos for Trigger this year, Luke's band, so a bit of nepotism there, but I am very proud of the one we did for Demon Eyes.
Oh, you did that one?
Yeah.
Ah, nice. I really love the you went for that sort of this is like big metal band vibe.
Yeah. It was,
big metal band.
Luke's described he described me. He was like, you're the king of half baked, fully cooked. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I will come to you with a half baked idea, and you'll somehow make it seem coherent and fully formed. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point, because we shot in the car park of Anubis Studios with some dude operating pyro that like we weren't sure should be operating pyro. A bunch of yeah, but it was very, very slapdash. But I think I managed to make it look somewhat like we had maybe a bit of a budget.
Well, I kind of watched it and I was just like, wow, this is like if like Parkway on their first album made the Crypt for Vice Crypt.
That was the plan. And a band called White Devil Detroit got me to shoot a video for their song Guillotine. And
cool name.
Yeah, really cool band and really cool dudes as well. And I was really like proud of the end result because it's weird and wacky and not like anything I'd worked on previously. And the feedback from Jake, the vocalist, it was primarily his vision, was fucking moving. Like he was like when I sent the cut to the group chat, he messaged being like, dude, I'm actually crying. Like this is exactly how I'd imagined this turning out. Like I've never been so proud of a piece of art in my life. And
that's awesome.
So that was wonderful. And that's what's made those projects stand out, is that each of those, the bands were thrilled to bits with the end result. I felt like I'd been able to, because a lot of the time when a band hires me to do a thing, I'm like, yep, cool. And then the whole time I'm doing it, I'm like, am I the wrong person? Am I the right person to be doing this? I think I'm the wrong person. Yeah, I'm going to fuck this up and everyone's going to know I'm a fraud and an idiot. And fraud, so when I turn it in and they're like, dude, thank you, this is wonderful, this is exactly how we wanted it to turn out and better, or whatever, that means a lot.
Sick, dude.
So that's proud of stuff, tunes, and those 3 music videos. In terms of how I get through the slumps and stuff, I'm not sure I'm very good at it yet. I don't know if it's the sort of thing I'll be working on until I'm dead, but I like some days are just like pulling teeth, but you get through them. I get the bare minimum done even when it doesn't come easily. I haven't had to fuck anyone around on a project yet, so that's good.
There's still time.
Yeah. There's still time. Like
here's hope for you, dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, here's hope that you'll let someone down. I don't know. I try meditating and stuff. Like I see a shrink. I just try to keep on top of or like keep my tool belt of like mental health stuff well equipped. But it's work. Being a human's work.
It is. It's
worth it. I love it, and I've got a wonderful kind of inner circle of people I can reach out to and stuff. I think that's the thing I try to do most is like actually reach out when I'm feeling down.
Verbalizing it.
Yeah, verbalize it, even if it's always something I think, this is stupid. I shouldn't be bringing this up. This is a problem you've created for yourself. You chose this. But still, even so, bringing it up and just allowing yourself to verbalize that is I always feel better for having done it, and I'm around people who don't make me feel worse for doing so. So
yeah, support network.
Support network is hugely important. Yeah,
because I think that all of those kind of things that you're talking about. I mean, that's pretty relevant to the kind of stuff that I've sort of been doing and try to do as well. Sometimes I lean on my support network a little too much. Dan.
In the last year, actually, I will say exercise has done an immense amount for my ability to get through the hard days a bit better, because at least I could get to the end of a day and go, all right, at least I got a little bit of work done and I got to the gym. Like I did something good for myself.
And you're looking good for it as well. I can see that little bit of vein popping out there from the.
Everybody loves a skinny
shoulder.
legend. Thank you. Oh my god, I love that for me. Thank you. Sorry.
That's all right too.
That's something I'm not good at, accepting compliments.
That's
about
okay.
My body.
I can't accept compliments either. So that makes 2 of us.
That.
Burn. I love it. I love it. But yeah, no, dude. I'm really big on, I guess, self, like, basically it's self-help really is what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've sort of tried to avoid having the need to get a psych involved for myself in the past, and that's something that I'm now doing. On the advice of a lot of close friends and family and myself as well.
Yeah.
But I'd say that the biggest thing that I found that worked for me, and I guess maybe it did work for me and hasn't worked as well for you, is regular and like quite a lot of meditation. I actually sort of make it a thing to myself to try and do it 2 to 3 times a day if I can.
Yeah, I think I need to get back into the habit of doing that because it's something I fell off with. And something I just thought of that I also need to get back into the habit of is talking to myself, as though like talking to myself the way I would talk to a friend who was going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I would not talk to a friend the way I talk to myself ordinarily. Like,
Wouldn't have many friends.
oh, absolutely,
What a friend.
absolutely, yeah. Like literally, got through the start of or the end of 2018. A 4-year relationship ended. So I was kind of in a position where I really needed to take care of myself, and I did, and got through it, and was much better for it. But then I think probably about halfway through 2019, I'd gotten through that. The feelings around that had kind of had healed. Like I'd healed by then, I think. So I didn't really have anything to be consciously checking in with myself about. Like I didn't feel like I had any reason to be sad. So I slipped into the old habit of going, what are you feeling bad about? You know, you got nothing to feel bad about. Get on with it. Like really not taking care of myself, or not cutting myself any slack, or not just going like literally talking myself through it like a fucking kid who needs a hug. Just going like, you're doing all right, man. You're doing your best. You're doing really well. Like, fuck it. You got to the gym today, dude. That's great. You know, like
that's
literally
better than most people.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and that positivity or that kindness, showing yourself that kindness will make you go like, you will thank yourself. You will go, yeah. No, I did do that. All right, you know what? I'm feeling all right. Let's sit down at the computer. Let's open up that project and see if we can get a bit of that done. It does have a huge knock-on effect, and I need to keep reminding myself to get back to doing that.
It's good.
Super important, that talking yourself and talking you through it, and not like self-flagellating yourself over like those feelings. Like definitely.
Yeah, it's cool. It is, and the thing is, it's like I'm glad that like we can talk about this kind of medium, together as people, let alone on a podcast, because like, especially in this country, in Australia, there's been a real, I guess, stigma, not as much now, but definitely in the past, that we as men can't do that.
Yeah, there is that stiff upper lip. Yeah.
And I mean, that's definitely from a lot of, I guess, the people in my life who have been sort of, older people who, when I was younger, were around sort of guiding the way that I was doing things. And there's definitely been a lot of just, you just need to work harder.
Yeah.
Or you just need to try harder.
Yeah.
And, there isn't like, it's okay for you to like not be great in this situation.
Yeah.
And here's a couple of tools that might help you be okay and get through it. No, you've just got to do it.
I mean, there are times though when that's sort of like, no, it'll, the work harder thing does come into play.
Definitely.
I think when it's overbearing and it's that like, and there is no like self-compassion.
Yes.
Or compassion for others, when that
yeah.
sort of becomes an issue.
Absolutely. I think like I'm coming from a place where like, again, my dad's an artist and was at the family barbecue, was always the arty farty and the poofter and all that shit. Awful shit. So
he sounds like a great person though.
He's wonderful. He's a wonderful human. And has really equipped me to be able to be able to express myself and stuff. So I don't know where the pressure to not verbalize this stuff comes from. I don't know if it's a societal thing, like the like stiff upper lip thing. It does permeate our culture, and I don't know if I've just subconsciously kind of taken that on board, because I certainly didn't get it from my dad.
Maybe
that's where I was going with that. I didn't get this from my immediate family.
Yeah, well, Matt, I was going to say, it sounds to me like you sort of, not lucky, because you weren't lucky to have that family. That was just the family that you were given, and that's just, it's great. It's great, and it sounds to me like maybe it was more of a society, a school kind of environment thing as well, and just things going around external from your family, giving you this perception that you might have needed to do that.
Yeah.
And it's still like probably a bit of a subconscious thing, but obviously you've equipped yourself over time with enough tools so far to sort of be to help you have that self-realization that it's all bullshit and you're actually fine.
Yeah, or that I'm not fine and that's okay.
That's true.
Is the main thing is just giving yourself permission to feel like shit.
Yeah.
And to feel like shit for as long as you gotta, but to also like not wallow in that, to, I don't know, be kind to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
check in with yourself the way you check in with a mate who's having a shit time.
Yeah. And I mean, when you're in that position, it's okay to be like that. But you're right. When you say wallowing in it is very like counterproductive. You can do a wallowing for a day or so, and then it's time for you to wake up.
However long you need. But at some point, you're going to need to
check in with yourself regularly, because you will notice a point where you go, I don't feel so bad about this that I can't go for a walk.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And and when you go for that walk, as you get into the end of that walk, go, fuck yeah, I went for a walk. Talk to yourself like you're not yourself. Go, fuck yeah, dude, you went for a walk today. That's awesome.
Sick. And then you come back and you're like, actually, I do think I can edit this video now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It all helps.
Yeah. So, you've obviously got quite a lot of different things that you've got going on for yourself creatively, which is very cool. But one thing that we sort of,
but how are you paying your bills?
Well, no, you're doing
is there any money in that? Sorry, I'm just coming off family Christmas and
man's
words still ringing in my ears.
That's okay. I can relate, man. When I'm sitting here just being like, we're supposed to be buying property in the next 6 months, and I'm not really earning what I was when I had my full-time job in the insurance industry, but that doesn't. You look at life value versus money; it's not the same thing.
No.
And I feel like a good thing for people to sort of take to heart is that if you want to be a creative and you want to succeed, stop trying to succeed and just be a creative.
Yeah, just do it. That's been my that's something that Dad ingrained in me from a young age, was you're not your words, you're your actions. You people like to say that they're artists or they're this or they're that because the label is appealing. It's nice. It makes you sound interesting. But if you're not actually doing it, you're not an artist's nutsack, or vulva or whatever. I just cover all bases. You're not.
No. And I mean, there's a lot of different artists that we've all had the pleasure of seeing, and sometimes it's very obvious when somebody is an artist because they literally live and breathe it and they're just constantly at it. And then there's the other people who are sort of just do it because it's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And there's everyone who generally sits in between. And that's, I find, is the majority of artists. Really.
I think
in love with the idea of being an artist.
I think
enjoying the creative process.
You can take, even if something just doing something, nothing. There's a wonderful video that I have in my tabs. It's from a podcast, one of Kevin Smith's podcasts called Fat Man Beyond.
Oh man,
where he talks. Good. Him and a writer called Mark Bernardin answering a fan question who asks what's some advice you would give to someone trying to break into the industry. And Kevin just says just do you at any cost, because nothing bad ever comes from doing you. And the worst that you can say, the worst that can happen is you try. At least the way I look at it is I will never be the cunt at the barbecue going, oh, you do this, did you? Yeah, no, I would have liked to have had a go on the drums, but never had the time. It's we've all got time. You didn't prioritize it, or what, for whatever reason, don't make it sound like I just had the option or something, you know. And you'll have that too. Wherever this takes you, you'll at least be able to go, no, I was self-employed. I was self-sufficient on the back of my art or whatever. At the family barbecue, this thing we just Triple Kill just got off tour with Lagerstein in November, or it started December. And at the family Christmas, Nan's like, how's the band going? And I was like, good. We actually just got back from tour. And she's like, yeah, do you make any money doing that? And I was like, no, my art took me across the country, you know.
Yeah. And even that, it's not the point.
No, exactly.
It's not about the money, man. It's about the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone's, the old thing of, well, you can't take the money with you.
Yeah.
So exactly. Just
live
while you're here.
Exactly. And again, I'm never going to be Uncle so-and-so being like, no. It's pretty good now. Yeah.
But like, what's, coming from a background of family where I've had both sides of it. I've got my mum who's like, a really like very, very big greenie, only interested in people being happy. She was a teacher growing up, and she, because of certain situations, didn't get the opportunity to be able to do creative endeavors that she wanted to, versus my father, who is an entrepreneur, businessman, really, just money. That's what rules his life. And, I look at, like, he works super hard, but my mum so much healthier, happier in terms of, like, what she's doing for the world and for herself and all of that. And it's pretty easy for me to say why I'm doing all this creative stuff. And yes, I make money being a producer, because at the end of the day, I'm working for people.
Yeah.
But I can't see how I could do anything different, because even though it's hard sometimes, I wake up wanting to create art and wanting to help people
absolutely
make their music, the best version of what it is. And I don't see how I can really help people sitting behind a desk.
No, absolutely. No, if you've found that thing that that you're good at, that allows you to contribute and leave something behind to the world, I think that's what you got to focus on,
Yeah.
And I feel like I should qualify to the idea of, like, I would have liked to have done this, but I didn't have a go, and that being a cop out. Circumstances, like, of course there are things like there are probably people who said I would have liked to have done this, but I just never came up, or they might have very good reasons for it not being a path that they took or whatever. But I think there is a it can just be an excuse.
Yeah, definitely. But it's pretty easy to tell when it's I
just didn't
excuse.
want that comment to come off as as dismissive of people who have genuine shit getting in the way of them going after something. Like, I do happen to be lucky enough that I don't have anything like physically holding me back from drumming or from doing music video stuff or this tune stuff. I don't have anything immediate getting in my way, but it's still work. It's still daily upkeep and daily effort and stuff,
Yeah, and the other thing as well is because you've chosen to have a creative career, stability in terms of that for a career is, well, it's kind of somewhat non-existent.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you make sacrifices in other ways. Yeah, you sacrifice any stability of income or.
Isn't that fun? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
It's challenging. That is for sure. I feel like if you had the whole thing, I mean, you probably sort of touched on it a bit before, but where you've got other people who are self-employed but are succeeding very well, and then they sort of have that, they come to you and they say, oh, well, you can have the success that I am if you just work really hard and don't feel like that there's any ceiling for how much money you can earn so that you can be successful. And it's like,
I haven't had that.
No,
personally. The people around me who are doing or who I think are doing incredibly well are also very humble and just get on with the work. And anytime that you bring up, like, if they're like, how are you going? You go, I'm going. They kind of they will speak about it with a sense of knowing where you're coming from. They'll go like, they get it. So I don't feel that personally. I haven't got that.
That's good. I mean,
I think you would get it probably from, not from creatives anyway. I think you might get it from like entrepreneurial types, just running like a business, but running like your art, your passions as a business is very different, I think. And it brings, I think, people who do it successfully, I in my experience, are quite humble about it.
Yeah, I kind of pretty much totally agree with you that the experiences that I've had with the people who are sort of I guess saying that there shouldn't be any limit, and you should be financially, it should be financially viable for you to both succeed and excel. Doing what I do, and other creative people that I know doing what they're doing as well. They're not in a creative background. It's definitely a different kind of industry, and I mean it shows, because the way that those kind of industries have to work versus a creative industry, in terms of, like, I guess, the realities of, obtaining clients, getting, building a repertoire, getting your portfolio out there, being current, being top of mind for people remembering who you are, like, and, actually also being able to have the time to invest in making sure that you're always delivering quality to your clients. And there's no such thing as there's no such thing as stopping learning.
No.
Like, you have to learn constantly if you want to be just a creative in general, really, but especially if you want to be a self-employed creative. I mean, I've been doing so much self-education over the last year, and I've got like 4 books in there. Half of them are business books, to be fair, but it's relevant.
Yeah.
I use podcasts for self-education and a lot of video content as well. Shock horror, I've been spending probably the last 3 months constantly watching and learning pop production, simply because I feel like it's relevant for me to know knowledge from all different styles of production in music, whether or not I use it for pop or if I use it for metal or whatever. Yeah. Like, it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that, like, you have to do these things if you want to succeed, but realistically, it's not a burden; it's a luxury. The self-education opportunities that we have.
Oh, absolutely!
The age of the internet.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. But the internet also does come with it's a bit of a Pandora's box kind of thing, where, like,
yeah, you're not wrong.
All this fucking nasty shit comes out of it, and the bottom of it, you're like,
you mean I can say whatever I want with nearly no repercussions?
Yeah. Nestled at the bottom of Pandora's Wi-Fi box was tutorials. And you're like, oh yeah, sick tutorials.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you obviously have been doing some self-education for yourself. What are the kind of things that you've found, I guess, maybe over the last 12 months that have been really valuable to you, whether it's been books or podcasts or, I guess, like online courses or anything along those lines?
Yeah. Let me have a think. For the general learning stuff, there's some film tutorial channels that are quite entertaining as well. So there's a channel called Film Riot, a channel called Corridor Crew, I think they're called.
Yep.
There's a channel that's no longer, I watch a lot, I really get a lot out of, like, film essay channels. There's one called Every Frame a Painting that is no longer uploading, but all their stuff is there.
Still up there, yeah.
And it is a wonderful resource, like super, super practical and just great. I cannot sing that channel's praises enough. What else? In terms of the mental health stuff, there's a channel called School of Life, which sounds a bit daggy on paper, but it is very, very good. Really good for kind of modern human psychology stuff. It's good. I find it really reassuring to watch a video about something that's playing on my mind, or a feeling that I'm feeling, just to go, oh, this isn't just, it's not just me, which I never think, oh, just me, but at least, like, it's not just me right now either. This is a thing that has roots in, us as cavemen and stuff. Like, it's followed us throughout time. Yeah. So it's nice to know that stuff's really, really reassuring. And there's also a channel called Pursuit of Wonder, which has some really wonderful video essays and stuff about similar topics to School of Life, but I think presented in a way that I find a little more palatable on a regular basis. The School of Life stuff, it's petty, but the dude's voice is a little grating to me, whereas the Pursuit of One guy is much less so.
You can't help what to sort of
there's one specific video that I would say that I would urge people to watch just on the off chance that it resonates with them, because it does with me, and I watch it a couple of times a week just to gain some clarity for even a brief second, just enough to get out of bed. I think it's called. Oh shit! I'm gonna have to take a second just to check it on my phone. I don't want to get the title wrong, but
that's all right, dude. Well, I mean, it's good that you've got these, you've got these assets that you have, things that help you, be inspired.
Here we go. Sorry, just real quick. So the video is called "Meaning and Nothingness: Finding Motivation in the Void."
Oh, I think I saw you share that a couple weeks ago on Facebook.
It's fucking wonderful, dude. I really get a lot out of that video. So yeah, well worth a watch. And just podcasts by people I like, the Just a Show podcast and Kevin Smith's Fat Man Beyond. I regularly watch those because they're entertaining and stuff, but especially in the case of the Kevin Smith one, they answer questions from fans, and the fans are always people in our positions who are trying to make their mark on the industries and fields that have brought them joy. So it's good hearing people echo similar sentiments and have these dudes, Kevin and Mark in this case, respond with understanding and going like, yep, that's normal. Here's how we deal with it, or here's what you can do, or whatever.
Good. And now you've been able to do a podcast with us talking about all that kind of stuff as well. I can't thank you guys enough for having me on. Is that feedback from your peers that you're on this journey with us is immensely important, I think. So thank you really for having me. We're happy to help.
When Zach said you were keen to do it, I was like, yes, I'd love to have Connor on. That's fantastic.
Wonderful, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, because I think that the thing is that I feel like I'm full of energy now for the rest of the day, and doing all these things. I've got to go off and do some engineering for someone, and then go spend some time hanging out with friends that I haven't for a while. And I feel like I can be a great person to everybody that I meet for the next 24 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only 24 hours. After that, man.
That's it. After that, stay out of my line of sight, motherfuckers.
I'll call up Dan, and Dan will be like, hey, Zach, here's some positive energy. I ate your toast.
I think this is something I want to do more this year. I spoke to you actually before the end of the year. We bumped into each other, and you mentioned this podcast. But I was saying to you, I want to collaborate with more people, and because collaborating with Luke's been in the last year has been wonderful. I would like to just do more of that because, like you said, you end up creating with that person or those people, but you also get to have these conversations even in passing, and has that same knock-on effect. You go, all right, I'm not out here alone. We're all in this together in a very High School Musical way. Let's get on with it. And
then you all
cue the music.
All you all link hands and having a good time. And someone's like, "Where's the rum?" And you're like, yes, the good times roll. Well, dude, straight up, I already told you at the end of last year. I'm down for that to do it, and for us to organize. Whether it's a regular phone call between a group of people, or we just have a Facebook group, or even if we organize to just meet up at a pub, might be like once every couple of weeks, and just sit down and just be like, hey, what are you guys working on?
Touch base.
That real, I feel like the easiest way to keep ourselves on the path is to make it habitual, because then it's a thing that you just do, and everybody is doing something fresh, and you might not work on anything that you feel is special between the first time and the second time, or the second time and the third time, but the other people might have worked on something cool, and then all of a sudden they're talking to you about it, and you're getting excited, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, I'm going to get out there and try and interact with some people and try and do some new cool project that I've been wanting to do.
Yeah, I think it only stands to benefit everyone involved. I think also part of that, of wanting to work with other people this year, is I'd been thinking about this for a while, but I hadn't had the words to verbalize it, or nothing had come along I hadn't been able to like compactly and concisely express this thought. But I was watching comedians in cars getting coffee, and Bill Burr was on there, and
Legend.
I love his stuff.
Angry young man.
angry man, and I love it. But he was, I think it might have been before F is for Family had come out, but Jerry asked Bill, like, do you have your own show at the moment? And Bill's like, no. And Jerry's like, you don't want your own show? He's like, no, I don't want my own show. Like, he's like, my brother used to say, you don't want to be the guy with the boat, because when you're the guy with the boat, you are the guy with the boat docking fees, all the bullshit that comes with the boat. You've also got that. You want to be the guy who's friends with the guy with the boat, because you get to show up with a 6-pack and be a fucking hero. And I heard that and I went, I have too many boats. All I have are boats. I've got like my business, I've got tune stuff, I've got like Triple Kill's obviously a collaborative thing, and that's a blessing that it is that.
But it's a band, so it's a boat.
But it's also a boat. And I do all the video stuff in Triple Kill. So that
is a lot of stuff.
That's a smaller like I gotta maintain one of these life rafts on the bigger Triple Kill boat. You know, like it's still a boat. I want to be on other people's boats this year. I want to get involved in other people's shit.
Yeah, and you can rock up with a 6-pack or a Sailor Jerry. And
in the case of this, I rock up with a decent attitude and answer the questions as best I can. I get to go home and not think about like, oh, now I have to edit that. You know, whereas with tunes and stuff, I show up on set. If we are lucky enough to have a crew, read one person helping us shoot. Hey, Hannah and Vicky, thanks so much. They were our unpaid interns, we called them. For season 1, would come on and help us shoot and stuff. But often there'd be times where like we'd organize a shoot and wouldn't have anyone on. So I'd be like in front of the camera, also behind the camera, and kind of acting as producer and setting up all the gear. And then as soon as we finish, it's not like all right, that's done, it's over. It's all right, I have to get this edited by this date to get it up in time for the schedule. Like,
yeah,
it's exhausting. I want to be on someone else's boat, you know?
I love it. Well, so, I mean, you know, you're welcome on our boat.
Thank you.
You know,
the SS Earthtide?
Yeah, the Earthtide project.
There you go. That'll do it.
SS Earthtide, yeah. With, Commander Ralph and Captain Zach.
Yeah.
Happy to have you on board anytime.
Anybody with boats out there, let me on.
Yeah, man. Just make sure that you come with a good sea shanty.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll come with a good, sea shanty. That's all right, don't let me near your boats, people. I've got nothing. I have nothing to offer you in way of sea shanties.
I reckon that we will sign off on the episode there, Connor, unless there's anything else. I would actually like, though, throw some plugs out there for, you know, some URLs and things for the things that you're involved in, tunes and Triple Kill and all that. So
sure. Okay. So ChunezTV is the Facebook page. It's also the YouTube channel. It's also the Instagram handle, and it is the Twitch channel. Please check out Tunes, check out the show. If you have Tuesday evenings free, we stream from 8 p.m. to 12. Sometimes we go overtime, and I think that's a really entertaining and fun way to engage with people. So if you got a Tuesday evening free, drop by the stream and hang out. It's really good fun. We've got a really good community of people on there.
Sick.
And Triple Kill.
Spelled, I was going to say, and Tunes is spelled CH.
Sorry, yes, CHUNEZ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not TUNES.
Yes. And Triple Kill Band, that's the handle on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure Facebook as well. We've also got Twitter.
Nice. And then if they want to follow you on Instagram to see video stuff that you're doing?
I don't really post enough of my video stuff. I do have an Imperium Pictures. Imperium Pictures is the business name I operate under, doing music video stuff. You can check out the Facebook page. There's not a lot up there, to be honest. I've been pretty slack with updating my own business side of things. See how that goes this year. But
no promises given.
No. So. If you'd like to see if I manage to get my life together, follow me on Facebook. Imperium Pictures is the Instagram and the Facebook handle. And yeah,
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate having you on, dude. You've been a stellar guest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on and for letting me ramble. And to anyone who got this far, thank you. Thank you so much. Really. No, really.
We appreciate you listening to my nasal tone and these legends.
Oh, dude. Anyone spending any amount of time listening to anyone else do anything is worth celebrating, dude.
They certainly
a finite amount of time on this planet, and this could take up someone's last hour of their time on this planet.
Oh, this poor bastard.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Mate, thank
Now
you,
you put it
dude.
that way.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
man.
I think about it all the time like that.
I'm sure if someone took out time to put me on that website, there'll be multiple people
dude.
taking, their time to listen to this.
People taking the time, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, this has been Dan.
Hello, goodbye.
And Zach and Connor here on the Earthtide podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a good time.